Hey guys, Brooks Baptiste here, checking in from the First Alert desk on this Thursday morning. Lots of stories to get you caught up on at this hour. Hopefully you'll join in. Send me a message, send me a comment, anything that you may have on our Facebook page if you're watching there. But we appreciate you tuning in on all of our streaming devices as well. And then, of course, on Atlanta News First, the app right now. So let's get into these stories just so that we can fill you in on a couple of the big headlines that we're following and staying on top of at this hour, and things that we'll be staying on top of throughout the day. This topic seems to be sparking a lot of conversation this morning. Mayor Dickens explaining why he's a little hesitant right now to support this proposed strict curfew for the youth in our area. Now, if you've been in the news cycle lately, you have realized that here in Atlanta, we have seen a lot of violence among teens in our cities in just the past, year or so, really these past couple of months. And Councilwoman Keisha Wade says that she wants a stricter teen curfew in the city. She's talking about 8 p.m. instead of 11 p.m. Now, Mayor Dickens, he says he's just not in favor of an 8 p.m. curfew, and here's what he had to say about it.
I don't think 7 or 8 p.m. will work. There's too many games that occur at that time. There's too many kids that are leaving practice at that time. It's too many, and then there's a lot of room for profiling. And any kid that's standing on the corner waiting on their mother or father or what have you to come out, now you're going to tie up all the 911 lines trying to get kids on a curfew at 7 or 8 p.m.
All right, so some concerns right there from the mayor of why he says that it's probably not best to do this whole 8 p.m. curfew. He's saying that he's open to a 10 p.m. curfew, but 8 a.m., that just doesn't seem like it's going to work for him. So, of course, this is a story we'll continue to stay on top of, and we'll be watching to see if his mind changes, to see if he and Councilwoman Keisha Wade are able to kind of meet somewhere in the middle. Of course, that's the story we'll be staying on top of. Another story that I'm sure many of you are still following is a national story that seems to be sparking a lot of change even here at home. We're talking about the unfortunate death of Tyree Nichols by Memphis police. There's a bill that's being pushed right here at our state capitol in hopes to make sure we don't have anything like this happen here in the state. So let's break down this bill. It's called the Police Accountability Act, and it's going to require police officers here in the state to wear body cameras during any contact with the public. So you may be saying, okay, well, what good is that going to do? Well, let's think about this thing here. When we're talking about different cases that have happened, body cams have they've been able to produce evidence for different things that have happened, because unfortunately when someone has passed away or been killed or has died, what do you get? You only have one side of the story, right? Because that person who is no longer there to defend themselves can't actually say exactly what happened. And this, as you know, it comes just a couple of weeks after a state trooper killed Manuel Tehran, who was protesting the future Atlanta Police Public Safety Center. State Patrol says that Tehran fired first, but troopers, they don't wear any body cameras, so there's no footage to actually back up that claim. So, of course, a lot of he said, she said type things in these situations, and this is why that bill would really help the state in trying to find ways to get to the bottom of situations and then to the bottom of cases. And then at that point, you've got the evidence that is needed to handle those situations accordingly. Another story that we are watching, the search is on right now. Some really terrifying moments for a group of cyclists, and it was all caught on camera. I'm going to show you this video because it's just something that's just, and you probably won't even believe it. All right, so look at this. Authorities right now are looking for the person who is responsible for hitting and ramming a car into a man's bike. There it is. You're watching it again. And literally just knocks the man over and keeps going. It looks like that driver was trying to make a cut on a turn, and as a result of that, he ended up hitting one of those bicyclists just trying to miss them. I'm going to show this again for you. Yeah, that is the moment right there. The car hitting a man's bike keeps going. This morning, investigators still looking for the driver. That group is asking for anyone with information on the driver to give Gwinnett County Police a call. That's where this has happened in Suwannee. A really unfortunate situation there. It looks like the guy was able to get up. The guy that was on the bicycle was able to just get up, and hopefully without injuries, but regardless, taking a hit by a car is never something that anybody should have to do, and especially if somebody hits, you would think that they would have at least pulled over. That's a story we'll continue to watch as well. So can we talk about the Super Bowl? Because we know who's going to be in the Super Bowl. Kansas City Chiefs. And a lot of companies planning to shell out millions of dollars on those Super Bowl ads, which they tend to do every single year, because we know the ads are just as big to a lot of people as what is happening out there on the field, right? You got your Super Bowl halftime show, of course, as well. And in the world of social media and access to whatever content that you want, whenever you want to see it, this is like the only time that we could all watch the same thing at the same time. So a lot of folks look forward to this, and a lot of folks will tell you as well that a lot of folks will look forward to this, and a lot of folks will tell you as well that they get a kick out of watching these Super Bowl ads together, because it really is something that brings us all together and something that continuously we look forward to every single year. So I know you're wondering, okay, well, what are going to be some of those big Super Bowl ads that we get to see this year? Well, you've got Budweiser that's guaranteed to drop a couple of things. You've also got Doritos going to be dropping a couple of things. So those are two companies that I'm sure we all look forward to what their commercials have been. Now, I know they've got at least a group of people working behind the scenes, working strictly on those commercials. That's what those people do there, because they work on them for the Super Bowl with millions of eyes that are going to be on the screen. So you know they've got to be right. They just have to. All right, so here's something that is not right. And I'm gonna let you interpret that the way that you wanna interpret that in this next story that we're gonna talk about. Big question. Are we going to get an early spring, or are we going to get 6 more weeks of winter? That is the question right now. Let's take a look at how things were looking. Let me see if I'm able to find this video here on the computer in front of me, because I want to show you Punxsutawney Phil, who had a prediction today. I think my video must have escaped for me. It is all good. Many of you asking, okay, so are we going to get that early spring? Was winter going to be lasting for 6 more weeks? It is Groundhog's Day, and there were a lot of eyes that were on Gobbler's Knob in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Phil the groundhog, yeah, he did see his shadow. He saw his shadow. Meanwhile, here at home in Jackson, Georgia, let me tell you about this. We have our own groundhog who wasn't able to see his shadow. So First Alert meteorologist Ella Dorsey coming on in here.
Guys, I'm about to retweet
This is
him.
crazy.
This is Beerguard Lee, okay?
Is it lifted up? Let's see if we,
You can't see it. Okay, so our own groundhog, Beerguard Lee, tweeted
I'm sure he
this
did.
morning after he did not see his shadow that we here in the South are going to have an early spring.
So let me ask you this, because you're the expert, and we don't just call our folks experts, we really mean that when we say that, because we know, groundhog, I don't think they went to school to really determine how long spring is going to last. Who in this situation, are we going by what was said down here in Georgia, or are we going by what was said in Pennsylvania?
Well, usually up north they do have a longer winter, right? And he's only right 40% of the time. Phil, up north.
Phil is, yeah.
So if you flip a coin, you have more of a likelihood of being right than Phil.
Just saying.
He predicted a longer winter last year that coincided with a huge winter storm up there. Meanwhile, Beerguard Lee is a lot more accurate.
Okay.
And if you actually look at the models, which I'm going to show here in a second, Brooks, we are going to see warmer than average temperatures in general this February. So I think we're going to see a little bit of an early spring. In the 7-day forecast, there's definitely some spring-like days.
Because can I tell you, I was so excited when we were about to transition into fall and into the winter months. I was like, I get to bring out my peacoat. You remember me saying that 50 million times. I've had enough of the peacoat.
Turtlenecks. You want to retire the turtlenecks?
I'm ready to retire them for the year. All right, so I'll let you take it away. But yeah, thank goodness that spring could be coming sometime soon.
Sometime in the next week, right? Okay, so yes. Early spring or 6 more weeks of winter. According to Punxsutawney Phil, we're getting 6 more weeks of winter. However, this is what we were just talking about. The Climate Prediction Center, this is the February outlook for temperatures. And as you can see, the eastern United States is expecting warmer than average conditions this February, especially for us here in the southeast. That warmer weather is going to take over in the next week or so. So I expect us to start seeing the early signs of spring, some daffodils maybe even by mid-February. Here's a look at our weather pattern as a whole. Wanted to show you the zoomed out radar. If you see the pinks over near Dallas, up towards Memphis, that is ice. They've had a major ice storm in the south, even into the Nashville area. They woke up with a huge coating of ice yesterday. So The weather's been pretty crazy across the south over the last week or so. We're not going to see any of that winter weather. We're essentially dodging a bullet. Not going to see any severe weather, no winter weather. It's just going to be rain today. Going to take you back to the radar now. You can see that light rain. This is the loop over the last 3 hours falling across North Georgia. Most of the rain now north of the city. Scattered showers will continue until around noon today, and then that rain picks up in intensity. By 4 or 5 p.m., guys, it's going to be really heavy across all of North Georgia. So this is something that you'll want to factor into your afternoon and certainly your evening plans. If you're thinking about going to the grocery store, right? If you're thinking about what to cook the kiddos for dinner, if you're thinking about your evening plans, you're not going to want to be driving around. I definitely think the evening commute's going to be really messy. And this rain is likely to continue overnight. So temperatures today with the rain in the 40s, possibly briefly hitting 50 degrees. It's just going to be a gross, gloomy day, okay? This is going to be the last gross, gloomy day of the next week though, okay? So we have that first alert in place. It's going to have a moderate impact to your day. We talked about it. No winter weather, no severe weather. The rain will move from being light to being heavy through the afternoon. Isolated flash flooding is possible today, mainly just pooling on the sides of the roadways. So let's take you hour by hour through the day today. You can see that heavier rain moving in around 4 p.m. See the yellows, see the oranges. That's extremely heavy rain falling. That will continue through the entire evening. I've stopped the clock again at midnight. As you're headed to bed, this actually is going to make for your sleep to be really good tonight. Heavy rain falling, not even expecting any lightning. So just a nice way to fall asleep. Mid-40s overnight, will briefly fall into the 30s. You can see that rain moves out quickly by the time you're waking up tomorrow. Skies are already clearing. We're in the 40s. We stay in the 40s through the day. So tomorrow we finally see that nicer weather start to take over. I will tell you though, it's going to feel like winter. It's going to be very breezy. That breeze coming in straight from the north, that's called cold air advection. It's essentially cold air moving in behind the front. So that breeze going to bring in that cooler air. You can see North Georgia won't make it out of the low 40s. Meanwhile, Metro Atlanta will be in the upper 40s tomorrow afternoon. After today, we're not going to see any rain for the foreseeable future. Take a look at this. This is the longest dry stretch we have seen this year. Monday, Tuesday, and honestly, possibly even Wednesday, maybe even Thursday of next week, looking dry. So we could make it through the majority of the week with dry conditions next week. Really nice. So Saturday, let's talk about your weekend. It is going to be very cold in the morning. We're talking about high temperatures only in the 40s, but you'll notice for your Saturday morning plans, widespread 20s, a hard freeze. So we're going to start with the weekend feeling like winter, lots of sunshine on Saturday. You'll start to see increasing clouds around 2 or 3 p.m. on Saturday, and then that will give way to mostly cloudy skies on Sunday. Sunday afternoon looks a lot warmer, mid to upper 50s. That's the start of the warming trend. It will stay dry through the weekend, our first dry weekend of the year, might I add. And we continue this warming trend into next week. Monday and Tuesday, mid to upper 60s, guys. It just doesn't get better than that, especially when you're going to see lots of sunshine with the 7-day forecast as well. So here is that 7-day. I haven't added this many sunshine icons on the 7-day in so long. Really, really nice weather. Let me take you back to it. 65 next Monday and sunny. 67 next Tuesday and partly cloudy. Only a 30% chance of rain next Wednesday, and some of our long-range models are actually predicting dry conditions through the entire week next week. So it's something that we're going to be watching closely. But what I can tell you is it's going to feel and look like spring outside. So we just got to make it through today, and much better weather is on the way. Okay, Jen will be in at noon, keeping you updated on the rainfall, but I would expect that heavy rain to move in through the afternoon, evening. But by this time tomorrow, the sun will be coming out. All right, guys, you can make some outdoor plans for this weekend and certainly next week. Hope you have a great day. Stay dry, stay warm.